If you win, shake hands. If you lose, shake hands. I'll let my connection catch up a little bit before we start our Facebook Live conversation of the day. Check to see if I'm live on the book. Yes, sir. It's going down. Yes, we are excited to connect with middle and high school football and basketball teams. All teams, really, athletically. I will retitle this conversation. The title for this conversation will be When We Win, We Shake Hands, and When We Lose, We Shake Hands, y'all. That's what it is. Let me kind of work my magic a little bit here because I want to end it. I'm trying to see when I'm ready to end the conversation. You will see at the bottom. You will see at the bottom of this live a hyperlink, a URL. If you are a if you are a coach, specifically in athletics, doesn't necessarily matter what the sport is, but if you are a coach, I would ask you to click that link and see if what is being offered in regards to potential can help you. I can guarantee that it can, especially when we're being proactive. Sometimes as humans, we had a tendency to be reactive or reactionary, meaning something happens, then we react to it instead of being proactive before it happens. Sometimes we can see stuff that's there. Sometimes we'll ignore it. We won't address it. We won't be proactive in our strategies to resolve that potential problem. I would tell you, problems start small, and as it builds, the problems erupt. They come to the surface. They start minute, and as they get momentum with time, they come up to the surface, and all of a sudden, we have a monster on our hands. Check the link, click the link, see if it can assist you in your sporting program. The potential, the athletic portion of potential, not only addresses athletes in basketball or football. We tailored it that way because these are the two sports that are popular and in season at this time. But we can assist in soccer, we can assist in badminton, because sports deal with emotion. And if we can highlight how to use that vehicle to manage our emotions in a healthy way, we as educators, we as coaches, counselors, teachers, parents, the entire community, we can help in the production of better people. That should be one of our goals, not to produce these great athletes, but primarily we should be trying to produce great people, because we can only involve ourselves in athletics for a specified period of time. The question is, and I gather this question from my dear brother Ernest Krim, what's next? What will we do after? the sporting career is over. Let's see, let's hit it. We've started a good conversation. Happy Friday to you. Hopefully your Friday is going well. Hopefully your week has been going well. I know I've been asking many questions on Facebook, trying to engage the audience. One of the pieces of information I was asking is describe your week in one day. Now we're at Friday. Describe your week in one day. I think my week was very in-depth, enlightening, revelatory, very smooth. How was your week? In the midst, well, as we wait, please share this conversation. We'll clip it and throw some highlights out there shortly after because I want to enjoy this weekend. But I want to engage you real fast before I go into the meat of the conversation. I only have maybe 3 PowerPoints that I want to share with the family today. But before I share these 3 PowerPoints, I want to know, do you have a child? That's number 1. Is your child involved in any sports? What grade is your child in, and what sport are they involved in? The first question of interaction is, do you have a child? Second question, are they in any type of sport? Third question, combination, how old are they and what grade are they in? And then fourthly, what sport are they in? Let's go. So if you're watching this, you're watching the replay, type, let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. If you win, if the team that I'm coaching wins, we shake hands. If the team that I'm coaching loses, we shake hands. Win, lose, or draw, when we conclude with that competition, we shake hands. The question is why? Because if we don't know the why, if as coaches, as parents, we cannot effectively communicate why, our kids may not understand the why. And if they don't understand the why, we can share the reason with them, but the question is, will they receive the answer, the comprehension, the elaboration of the answer? If they don't receive it, they won't live it. If they don't receive it, if they don't understand it, if they don't feel it, they won't live it. We shake hands, win, lose, or draw, not only because it exemplifies great sportsmanship. That's one of the reasons. Another reason could be we want to give thanks and gratitude to our competitors, whereas we had the opportunity to compete with you. But I want to go deeper with this. I don't want to go too deep. But I will tell you that one of the reasons why it's important for us to shake hands, win, lose, or draw, is to cultivate the fruit of humility. It's to cultivate the fruit of humility. My next statement is one reason, or I apologize, our response to loss in the context or setting of sports reflects the depth of our emotional intelligence or the lack of depth of our emotional intelligence. Our response to a loss, specifically in the context or setting of sports, reflects our depth, our understanding of our own emotional intelligence or the lack of emotional intelligence. If my team loses and they refuse to shake hands, it lets me know as a coach that there's a lack in their emotional intelligence. And if they don't understand how these emotions function, if they don't understand how to manage these emotions in a healthy way, those emotions will manage them. I repeat, if my players don't know how to manage their emotions will manage them. That means that in the context of sporting or sports, in a school setting, community setting, home setting, they're going to make emotional and impulsive decisions that can cost them their life, their education, their future, their relationships, etc., etc., etc. It can be a cost. It's a cost associated with it, and that causes a penalty or a loss. We like to relate our decision making when we facilitate potential in an athletic setting to where consequences, both positive or negative, symbolize gains or penalties. When you look at it from a football standpoint, the consequence of me making a bad decision or making a bad play, it results in a negative consequence, which could be a penalty. If I make a good decision or I make a good play or I run the play it's supposed to be ran, how we practiced it, the positive consequences is a gain. When you think about basketball, negative consequences normally can equate to turnovers, and positive consequences can normally relate to scores. But in both contexts, whether it's basketball or football, if I'm not at a certain point in my emotional intelligence, my one decision can cost everybody. Our response to loss in the context of a sport reflects the depth of our emotional intelligence or lack thereof. As a person who used to be an assistant coach for girls basketball, I had countless numbers of conversations with I won't say my student athletes about why did the head coach take you out? That was their conversation. That was the concentration of their conversation. My conversation wasn't that. My conversation was, let's work through your emotions, because if you are ready, you don't have to get ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. But you're not going to be able to stay ready if you are cumbered about with your emotions in relation to why he decided to take you out. Let's focus on preparing to go back in the game, managing our emotions, focusing on what's taking place, finding these different gaps that we can exploit. When you go back in, you're going to be ready. When you go back in, you will be ready. That's us helping them manage, these emotions. And once we can help them reach a certain place of mastery with that, it can go into other areas of life. Last thought for us. The title is this conversation is, if we win, we shake hands. If we lose, we shake hands. Win, lose, or draw, we shake hands, because it's not only about good sportsmanship, because that can be on the surface. I could be shaking hands with my opponent that we lost to just because my coach told me to. But when I realize that I'm cultivating the fruit of humility, humility can take me farther. Let me tell you this brief story about my life. Coming out of 8th grade, I was good at basketball. I watched tapes. I lifted weights. I practiced outside of practice. And I saw the fruit of this commitment and dedication in my play, in my basketball IQ, in my athleticism, in my endurance, in my leadership ability. Transitioning from the 8th grade to freshman high school basketball, my thought was, I'm so good, I don't need to practice anymore. I'm going to walk onto this team and I'm going to do what I normally do. No commitment, no practice, no time investment to this sport. I went into high school in 1994 or 1900, the year 1994. At that time, Joliet West and Joliet Central went through a merger, and we had tremendous athletes in all sports in both schools. You combine two schools representing one sport, the door of opportunity got very slim. If you weren't a person who the coaches could have possibly seen during the summer league, the possibility or probability you getting chosen for that team was very small. Without me practicing, without me investing the time, there was a lot of pride there that I was not aware of. I was humbled by the class that I took. The class that I took was experience. Experience told me that these people are dedicated to the craft and you're not walking on to this team. With the schools being combined, I got cut. I made the lame excuse that my number got tore off. Hopefully you watching this. That's when I got introduced to Richard Bailey. Richard Bailey was a legend, specifically in football, but he was awesome in basketball too. This short guy, short, stocky, dark-skinned dude ran circles around me in the tryout. I had never met him in my life. I met him that day though. But he wasn't the reason why I got cut. The reason why I got cut is because I had to learn the lesson of humility through experience. Thank you, lesson. Thank you, Mr. Richard Bailey, for being a player. And we could say my teacher in showing me what humility was all about. Went into the sophomore year, got cut too. Stopped my whole career because I boxed myself in to only this sport. And because I boxed myself in only this sport, I got involved in other extracurricular activities that did not add to my academic development, character development, personal development, or life goals. Real talk. Last statement. There is a lesson in the loss. There is a lesson in the loss. You're a coach, you watching this. Even the 72-10 Bulls lost. Even the Golden State Warriors lost. There's always going to be loss because loss is a part of life, but there's a lesson in the loss. If you're a coach watching this and your team loses, tell them this statement. Give this statement to them. There's a lesson in the loss, but if we over-emotionalize the loss, we lose the lesson. If we over-emotionalize the loss, and when I say over-emotionalize, what I'm saying is that my emotions have taken control over me. And when that occurs, I lose what I'm supposed to learn. If we don't learn anything from the lesson, we'll see you next year. You'll repeat that class until you awaken and understand what is the lesson in the loss. Many times what our athletes do, what our players do, they begin to finger point. It was you. It was you. It was you. Or you may have one star player who hasn't understood what leadership is all about, and she or he will start finger pointing at other players for what they didn't do. No. When we lose, let's self-reflect as a team. What didn't we do as a team that resulted in that loss? What are the coaches saying to us statistically, objectively? How many turnovers? What was our field goal percentage? Did we execute the plays that we practiced in the most excellent way? There are objective factors that we have to assess when we lose. But when we lose, we can't over emotionalize the loss because our focus and attention is on what do we need to do better? What do we need to do to prepare for the next game? Let's look at the numbers. What are the numbers saying? Because numbers will tell us a story. And the illustrious the voice of Dr. Pat Francis. Numbers tell a story. What are the numbers saying? Let's pay more attention to the numbers than we do our opinions when we're assessing what we need to do as a team to improve and prepare for the next game. Because it doesn't feel good to lose. It's not supposed to feel good, but we're not supposed to internalize and over emotionalize the loss to the degree where we lose the lesson. Thank you for listening. Thank you for dedicating your life and sacrificing a small bit of your time in your life to hearing this conversation that I had on my heart. Perfectly, hopefully, if you're a coach in any facet, in any capacity, as far as sports, volleyball, basketball, football, whatever it may be, you may coach at a high school level, you may coach at a college level, you may be an AAU coach. Hopefully and prayerfully, this message can penetrate your heart, take it into major consideration because we're not only building great teams and great athletes, our responsibility is to play a part in building great people. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you for being there and sacrificing and doing all that you do. We will see you soon. Peace.